Ancient Indian history in 10 minutes. Let's do it. We can divide ancient Indian history into 4 periods. The Vedic period, the period of Mahayanopadas and the Nandas, the Mauryan and Gupta periods, and finally the post-Gupta period. The first period is the Vedic period, which lasted from 1500 BCE to 500 BCE. This was the time when Mahayan tribes started migrating into the Indian subcontinent. They brought with them their language, culture, and religion. It is believed that these people spoke an early form of Sanskrit and followed a religion that later came to be known as Hinduism. The word Hindu actually originates from the geographic location Sindhu, referring to the Indus River. The Persians called it Hindu, and the Greeks called it India. Over time, this name changed to Hindustan, and today we call the followers of this religion Hindus. These Aryans were nomadic at first, but gradually settled down and began farming and animal husbandry. They also formed small republics like the Lycovus and Vagis, who were mentioned by Greek writers as the Six Nations. These tribal republics were democratic in nature, and some of them even had women as leaders. The Nishadas were a tribe who lived in the Himalayan foothills and were expert archers. According to legend, they were led by a great warrior king named Sushruman. The Vedic tribes were also divided into 4 ashrams, or social classes: Brahmanas, or priests; Kshatriyas, or warriors; Vaishyas, or merchants; and Shudras, or laborers. The system of untouchability also developed during this time,
around 800 BCE.
These Aryan tribes started composing hymns in praise of various gods like Indra, Agni, and Varuna. These hymns were not only religious in nature, but also contained philosophical, social, and political ideas. They composed these hymns in what came to be known as the Vedas, which literally means knowledge: Rigveda, Samaveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharveda. The hymns in the Vedas were mostly dedicated to nature worship. The Vedic period saw the emergence of many famous centers of learning, like the one at Takshashila. During this time, the practice of sati also started, where a widow was expected to sacrifice herself by burning on her husband's funeral pyre. As time went on, the Vedic tribes started competing with each other for land and power. 16 large kingdoms known as Mahayanopadas emerged. Some of these Mahayanopadas became quite powerful and wealthy, like Magadha, which was situated in present-day Bihar. It became the dominant power in the region due to its strategic location. This was also the time when Buddhism and Jainism started taking shape. Both of these religions rejected the Vedic rituals and the authority of the Brahmanas. The Nandas eventually took over Magadha and established the first empire in India around 345 BCE. Their empire stretched from the Himalayas to the Vindhyas. The last Nanda emperor was Mahanandan, who was assassinated by his own brother, who then established the Mauryan Empire. Now let's talk about the second period, which is the Mauryan and Gupta period. This lasted from 322 BCE to 550 CE. The Mauryan Empire was founded by Chandragupta Maurya, who was originally a simple merchant, seized the Nanda Empire with the help of his teacher, Chanukya, who is also known as Kautilya, and is considered the father of political science in India. Chandragupta's son, Bimbisara, expanded the empire to its greatest extent. The third Mauryan emperor was Ashoka. He initially continued his father's policy of expansion. He fought many battles and even extended his rule to the Kalinga region, which is now part of Orissa. Your butt! After the Battle of Kalinga, he became remorseful and renounced violence, adopting Buddhism as his religion. After embracing Buddhism, Ashoka's main objective was to spread the message of peace and non-violence all over his vast empire. He sent his sons and daughters to different parts of the empire to govern. One of his sons, Kanindya, went to Taxila. Another son ruled over the Deccan, and a daughter became the queen of Lanka. His grandson Sampreti succeeded him. After Sampreti, the Mauryan Empire began to decline, and it collapsed in the 3rd century BCE. During the Mauryan Empire, there was a flourishing of arts and literature. Many important works were written during this time. In the 3rd century BCE, Pushyamitra Shunga overthrew the last Mauryan emperor and established the Shunga dynasty. Kanishka became famous for patronizing Buddhism, and the Kushan Empire came into existence in the 2nd century CE. By this time, Central Asia had become a hub of Buddhist activity. Many Buddhist texts were translated into Greek and Roman languages. and Buddhism spread to far-off lands like China, Japan, and Korea. The next dynasty was the Gupta Empire, which is considered the Golden Age of ancient India. It lasted from the 4th to the 6th century CE. The Guptas were a clan of low-born warriors who originated in the Magadha region. Their founder was Sri Gupta. His son, Chandragupta I, married a Lykavi princess, and this alliance gave him control over the wealthy Magadha kingdom. His son, Samudragupta, was a great warrior and conqueror. He expanded the empire to cover most of northern and central India. The next emperor, Ram Gupta, was a patron of the arts, and his court was renowned for its beauty and culture. Gupta's grandson, Skandagupta, continued the tradition of promoting art and science. After him, the empire started to weaken and eventually fell apart due to attacks from the Hunas. But despite the fall of the Gupta Empire, ancient Indian culture continued to thrive. During this time, the great epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata, were compiled into their final form. Also, there was a tremendous development in the field of mathematics and astronomy. Indian numerals, including the symbol for zero, were developed during this time. Gupta astronomers accurately calculated the length of the solar year and the time taken by the Earth to orbit the Sun. Ancient Indian builders constructed magnificent temples, stupas, and other structures without the use of mortar or concrete. An outstanding example is the step well at Rani Ki Vav. In the meantime, South India was ruled by the Cholas. Their capital was at Urayur and later at Thanjavur. Raja Chola and his son Raja Chola were two of the greatest rulers of this dynasty. Raja Chola built many temples and promoted art and literature. His son expanded the empire to Sri Lanka and even invaded the Chera kingdom. So these were the major events in ancient Indian history. Now let's talk about the last period, which is the post-Gupta period. This covers the time from the 6th century CE to the 12th century CE. During this time, India was ruled by many dynasties like the Vardhanas, the Pallavas, the Chalukyas, and the Rashtrakutas. The Vardhanas were the first to rule over Delhi, and they played a significant role in reviving Hinduism after the decline of Buddhism and Jainism. The most notable Vardhana ruler was Harsha Vardhana, who tried to unite India but failed due to the lack of a strong navy. He was a great scholar himself and wrote several plays and poems. Meanwhile, in the south, the Pallavas were ruling over Kanchi. They were initially feudatories of the Cholas but later became independent. Simhavishnu was the greatest among the Pallavas. He expanded his empire and built many temples like the Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram. The Rashtrakutas and the Chalukyas were ruling in the Deccan region. The Chalukyas were defeated by the Rashtrakutas under the leadership of King Dantavarman. But later, the Rashtrakutas were defeated by the Pallavas. During this time, the Chera, Chola, and Pandya kingdoms were flourishing in Kerala. By the 9th century CE, the Arabs had invaded the northwest regions of India, and the Cholas successfully fought against them. During the reign of Raja Chola, the Cholas became overlords of the Maldives, and luxury trade flourished between the two regions. The Chera dynasty was succeeded by the Pandya dynasty. The Pandyas were patrons of the arts and literature. The famous poet Azandal belonged to this dynasty. The Jain Saint Hemachandra lived during this period, and he made significant contributions to the development of Jainism. Finally, the Delhi Sultanate was established by Qutb al-Din Aibak in the year 1192 CE. With this, the era of ancient India came to an end. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. Thank you for watching.